We go online.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. Welcome to the Horizon Europe co-designing workshop on Cluster 5, Climate, Energy and Mobility. My name is Bernd Bierwert from DG RTD, and I'll be your moderator for this session this afternoon, and very happy to be with you, even if unfortunately only again virtually, so I can't see you and will just some of you here, but very pleased to see the big interest. Just a few introductory words on this workshop. Those of you who have studied the program, you will have seen that we have had already today a number of similar co-design workshops on clusters 3, 4, and 6. And now we're going to have the workshop on, I would say, one of the central clusters, if I may say so, for Horizon Europe. It's a central cluster in the sense as if you look at the topics, it's one of the clusters which will significantly contribute to one of the Commission's top priorities, the European Green Deal. But it has also to be seen now in the context of the whole post-COVID recovery debate. So there's a clear nexus between the Green Deal objectives and our recovery debate. As you know, we are in the process of preparing the very first work program of Horizon Europe. We are currently also consulting member states, also now in the coming weeks and days to come. And therefore, for us, it is extremely important that in this process, we can have also intensive stakeholder consultations. And therefore, on the slide, which would come now, we would like to emphasize what is the objective of today's meeting. I just have to show if I can move this is the next slide. So we would like with you today in this afternoon's co-design session, reflect on the most relevant expected impacts for Cluster 5, and to hear from you how best we can achieve these impacts through our very first Horizon Europe work program. So I would like to emphasize that we see this for us, colleagues in the Commission, now very much as an opportunity to listen to you, how we can design this Cluster 5 in the best possible way. The organizers of the meeting are the services which are engaged in the cluster. We have 4 cluster co-chairs, so RTD, Klima, Ener, and Move. I would like to briefly just mention the colleagues who are with me and who will be then also, in case there should be questions either on the chat function or orally, be able to come in. Thomas Schubert from DG RTD, Thorsten Klimke from DG Move, Stefan Münch from DG Klima, and Christiana Machitelli from DG Ener. The duration of the meeting is 60 minutes. I've been told that the IT organizers of the meeting are very strict, so we will be switched off. We can't, unfortunately, continue in this format the discussion, so I will have to finish 5 minutes before the end for a short wrap-up before we all leave to other meetings or events. On the next slide, just very briefly for you, the agenda, how we would like to go with you through this co-design session. So the next point will be the presentation of the proposed expected impacts for Cluster 5. Thomas Schubert will go through with you on a number of slides we have prepared. Then we would like to leave a considerable part of this workshop for discussions. And as I said, for us it would be extremely important and useful, and we see this as the key objective of the meeting, to get feedback from you as important stakeholders, how you view the work on cluster 5. When we come to this point, I will give a little bit more instructions how we will do this in practical terms. And then, as I said, the last 5 minutes, a short wrap up. So this is the agenda. I would suggest, in order not to lose much time, to move immediately to the point of our presentation. And I would hand over the floor to Thomas Schubert. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Bernd, for the introduction. My name is Thomas Schubert. I work in DG Research and Innovation in the unit of Bernd. Okay, I would like to quickly explain a bit the context of the session this afternoon, where we talk about, let's say, more strategic aspects of the cluster activities. But before we start with this, I think it's good to explain the overall intervention logic of the program. Because at the end, what will be funded in calls is not just by coincidence a topic here and there, but there's a framework, a methodological framework behind, and there's an intervention logic. So we have basically 3 layers. We have the legal base, which is the legal document that says you have this amount of money to support activities in this and these areas with this and this objective. Okay, that's decided by the council and the parliament, and we have to do it. However, this is not really precise. So it leaves us a lot of flexibility to focus on the specific issues that we think, that I mean the big community of R&I actors think are most relevant. And to further define this, we have a next level, which is called a strategic plan. This is a novelty in Horizon Europe. That's a formal document, also discussed with member states, that takes the big EU policy priorities of the Commission and breaks it down into what a research and innovation program can contribute to these policy priorities. And the terminus technicus for this is key strategic orientations. So these are for headline, for big areas and for big orientations where the framework program will deliver on the EU policy priorities. And then 1 level down, we have the expected impacts. This is now for each cluster, what the cluster can do to contribute to the strategic orientations and to the EU policy priorities. So that's the methodological link. What we discussed today, or where we would like to focus our discussion on today, is on the expected impacts. And if we go 1 level down in the work program, the expected impacts are translated into destination. That's basically the same level of granularity, the same objectives, and it links the strategic plan, which is a more policy-oriented document, with the work program, which is a rather technical document at the end that includes topics and the calls, and which are the basis, is the basis then for funding of projects at the end. So the discussion today should be on the expected impacts, destination, so the big level impacts of the strategic plan and the work program that can deliver the EU policy priorities. So the expected impacts. I hope that most of you have already seen that there was a public consultation on the expected impacts, not only of cluster 5, also of the other clusters. From this public consultation, I have listed here the 6 expected impacts for cluster 5. The first one relates to climate science, pathways and responses to climate change. So this is really the climate part of the climate, energy and mobility cluster. The second expected impact covers the cross-cutting solutions. So areas that fall somehow in between climate, energy and transport, where we can't really say this belongs only to one or mainly to one area. And I mean, examples here are batteries, cities and communities, and breakthrough technologies in general. They are open, they are relevant for energy and transport and also climate. So they have one expected impact. Then the third expected impact concerns the energy supply. And here, of course, the ambition is to be more efficient, clean, sustainable, secure, and competitive, to boost the renewable energy, I mean, a renewable energy-based system, which of course needs also more flexible and smart grid and energy system in the background. Fourth expected impact concerns the use of energy, mainly in the areas of buildings and industry, because these are 2 of the main energy consuming sectors. The fifth expected impact deals with the fifth and sixth expected impact deal with transport-related issues. The fifth deals more with the, let's say, environmental and climate-neutral aspect of transport, and at the same time also the global competitiveness of the EU transport. EU transport is in many areas a world leader, and these 2 aspects together, so the climate neutrality and environmental profile and the competitiveness are the focus of the expected impact 5. And expected impact 6 looks more at the mobility system as a whole and tries to increase safety, smartness, inclusiveness, resilience, and sustainability of the mobility systems for people and goods. These are the 6 expected impacts, and the aim of this meeting is now to get your views on whether they are relevant, for this I will go to the next slide, because here we have the areas, the questions for the discussions. So are the proposed expected impacts, the 6 that were shown on the slide before, most relevant for the clusters, or are there others which have not, other aspects which have not been captured by this? And what are the most relevant actions for achieving these expected impacts? So this is already one level below, so a bit more concrete already. What is necessary, most necessary to achieve these impacts? This should be the guiding questions for the session today. So how the session will operate? Well, it's an experiment for all of us, but we thought that maybe the best way is to for you to use the chat box to indicate your request for an oral intervention. If you do so, then you will, Bernd, the moderator, will give you the floor. You will get the IT administrator of the session will turn on your microphone so you can speak. Please, I mean, for the sake of inclusiveness and to give everybody a chance, please limit your oral intervention to, let's say, 30 seconds. So don't speak for 5 minutes. And also, you may use the chat box to share your thoughts, especially in case one's time gets tight, and you may not be lucky enough to get the floor for your oral comments. We will then look through and probably promote some of the statements to Q&As, and then you can also vote the Q&As in the Q&A box. This is just next to the chat box. So with this, back to Bernd.
Yes, many thanks, Thomas, for this presentation. So let's move now to the next point. I would suggest that to facilitate your contributions, your views, I go back to the preceding slides where you have the overview on the impacts. And if I may now invite you to come in. As Thomas said, please flag it in the chat function, and then our administrators can pass you the floor with the mic. You can of course also make written comments via Q&A. So I know the beginning is always the most difficult. Who would like to come in? So far, I saw from the comments already comments on cities. Please feel free to come in. As I said, this is for us very much an opportunity to listen to your views, and which we also then, of course, have the opportunity to take into account when we are moving towards finalizing the work programs. I'll still give you a little bit the opportunity if you want to come in. I might then, those who do already comments, ask if they wish to pose the questions and explain then orally again. As I said, I mean, if you could focus, if you feel that the expected impacts you see here are most relevant for the cluster, and what in your view would be the most relevant actions for the expected impacts. Okay, so I see an anonymous question to number 6. Could I ask our administrators, I don't know, Matthias or Michel, to try to give the floor, because there seems to be a question to number 6 on mobility systems. Let's see if it works. If you would like to come in and to speak up, as this is a co-design session. But I don't have your name. I just see here anonymous. Okay, I see that Thorsten has already replied to this question in the sense that mobility is meant in the sense of transport services and not facilitating the mobility of academics. Andrea, maybe to make it a little bit more lively, that we don't need only to read, and that we hear also some voices. At least, would you like to come in and pose your question and maybe a bit the background? Can we give to Andrea the floor? I'm sorry, it does. I was told that our administrators can pass the floor.
She only puts her mic on, and it will be okay.
Andrea, would you? Okay, we see now. No, let's go this order. Andrea, are you still there? You asked a question. I don't see it now anymore in the chat function. You just have to put on your mic, so unmute yourself. If this doesn't work, may I? Okay, Andrea, can you come in? You just need to put on your mic. Doesn't seem to work, so I go back to anonymous. Who is anonymous? And if you would be so kind to pose your question by unmuting yourself, please. I don't hear anything. There should be the mic symbol. You just have to click on it. Can I ask Matthias Michel, how can we solve it that our participants can speak?
We need to put their microphone on. We unblock them, and then they can enable their microphone.
Okay.
So
anonymous, I see anonymous ABD 861. Let's give it a try. Doesn't seem to work. I still don't hear any question. I don't know, Matthias Michel, if this is the case for everyone or just with a few. I see the question, where's the mic icon? On my screen, it's very visible on the top.
It's also on the top.
Andrea, now I see you.
On the right corner.
With a photo, with a camera.
Andrea can speak now.
Andrea, please come in. Andrea, you are. Can you ask the question, please?
I cannot hear any longer anything.
Okay, I can see you and I can hear you. So we were wondering if you would like to come in with your question.
Oof.
Doesn't seem to work. That's so far not very okay. We see on the chat. We can go back to the chat function, but I would of course prefer if you could come in also orally. Andrea, now you are unmuted, but I see you. I see your camera, and I was listening to you. Can you try to ask again your question? Okay, doesn't work well. Okay, colleagues are in the meantime already replying to some of your questions. But I'm sorry that we can't do it right now. A bit more interactive. Shall we try it with? I'm just going back. Alain Zarli, I see a comment from your side where you are referring to the batteries issue, which is put in the same line with innovative tech. Would you maybe like to elaborate on this, and then we can come in? Alain, are you able to speak? Or it doesn't work either? Matthias Michel, is he?
Yeah, he needs to put his microphone on the right corner on top. There is a sign of the microphone, and he can put it on.
Alain, would you like to come in? Just repeat your question. I don't hear you.
He didn't put his microphone on.
Okay, Alain, can you switch it on?
But maybe it's the reason he's on Safari and not on Google Chrome. That's maybe possible. Safari will not enable this. You need to be on Google Chrome for that.
Okay. Okay. So I'll just read out his comment, which is also a question. So to Alain, it looks a bit strange to put in the same bunch batteries and other innovative tech with cities and communities. So he's referring to the impacts too. So at the same level, technologies on one side and the targeted ecosystems on the other side. Can you elaborate on it? So this is a question which is related to cross-cutting solutions, which go which cross different levels. Would any of my colleagues come in and comment on the comment and on the question? I don't know, Thomas, Christiana. Thomas, would you like? Yeah. Hello.
I was just busy replying to a comment. So I'm afraid I cannot jump in now because I was a bit distracted when replying to the comment. Sorry.
Yeah. The question I was referring to the question from Alain, who was wondering that for him, looking at the impact number 2, which puts together batteries and other innovative techs, cities and communities. So why at the same level to have technologies on the one side and then the targeted ecosystems on the other?
Yes, that's that's a valid question, and yeah. No, I asked this also myself, but you're fully right. But if you look at the expected impacts of this, I mean, at the structure of it, you see one impact on climate, two impacts on energy, two impacts on transport mobility, and then we have a number of areas, quite heterogeneous areas, which you could argue should fall in energy, or no, they should fall in transport, no, they should fall more into climate responses, so climate action. So they somehow do not really have one home only. So they got their home under the name cross-cutting solutions. So the let's say the smallest denominator there is that they are cross-cutting by nature. In the I mean, if we look at climate, energy, and transport, they are cross-cutting by nature. And then, yes, they have one home, the cross-cutting home, which is doesn't really do them justice, probably on their own rights, because they could be there. I mean, areas in their own rights, but for the sake of this. Of the structuring of these impacts and to keep the number of impacts at I mean, at a lower level, I mean, something between 5 to 7 and not go to 15 expected impacts or 20, we decided to group them all under the heading cross-cutting solutions. But of course, they are very heterogeneous, and you're fully right in pointing to the differences and discrepancies there.
Okay, thank you, thank you very much, Thomas. Also for being multifunctional, because I saw that you were at the same time replying to Nicolas on the RIA issue and the different levels of TRLs. As we didn't manage to put the mic on for Anonymous, but you kindly spelled out your question, which is related, or your comment on the importance of autonomous transport, which you rightly say is very critical. So the question, why does this not feature in impact 5 and 6? Torsten, would you, as your DG is dealing a lot with the autonomous transport issues, of course, there's the issue of the level of granularity we are putting into the expected impacts, but maybe you can say a few words from your perspective and your dealing. Torsten. Torsten, can you hear me? Torsten Klimke?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, very good. Thanks very much. Yeah, no, sorry, I was also multitasking and trying to answer a couple of questions in the Q&A at the same time. No, indeed, number 5 and 6.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, number 5 and 6. Indeed.
My name is Alan Zarli. Can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry, I was just answering the question on number 5 and 6. So maybe then afterwards, if you don't mind, you could come in with your point. So number 5. Indeed, the focus there is on the clean aspect. So on decarbonization, but also on addressing other health aspects such as other emissions, noise, and similar ones, whereas the focus of number 6 is on the opportunities that we have thanks to digitalization and new technologies, in particular navigation technologies, so that we make our transport smarter, but also more efficient, which indirectly then also, of course, contributes to climate action, as less energy will be used in total. We will ensure in the topics that will be derived from these impacts that there are, of course, also links between the clean aspect and the digital aspects, because both of them have to come together. We don't want clean and stupid transport, and we don't want dirty and smart transport either. So there are links between the two areas, and this will be reflected in future work programs. Thank you.
Yes, many thanks, Torsten, also for you doing multitasking. And I see that some participants commented on the browser. Indeed, we were also told that that Google Chrome seems to be the best browser for this function. When Torsten was about to reply, I heard a voice. I don't know if it was someone from the participants who wanted to come in. I don't see right now a sign. I will follow on the chat function. I would like to pick up one comment from, I hope I pronounce it correctly, Farhan Farouk, who is saying, I don't see any impact mentioned on citizen engagement in energy transition. Is there a particular reason for it? And Farhan, you are indeed raising a very important aspect, which is also central to the Green Deal, which was announced by Commission President von der Leyen right at the beginning of the new Commission. That we are embarking on a very, very important transformative change. And the goal and the objective is not only to look at technological solutions, but there's the just transition aspect, and to leave no one behind, and to have a very close citizens engagement. You may know that the Executive Vice President Timmermans, who also this morning, I don't know if you were listening to the plenary session in the Green Deal Hub, was emphasizing very much this aspect of citizens engagement, just transition. He's currently also working on a climate pact in this respect. So this is an aspect which basically is also cross-cutting and applies for all the impacts. So we didn't want to single out any aspect. If you look at other clusters, for example, cluster 6, this is similar. So we want to mainstream these aspects in all the the topics. I see that Alexander Vandenberg, you made a comment on energy supply. Could I try to give you the floor, hoping that you might use Google Chrome and that you are able to unmute yourself, that we hear also lively your voices, and that you could make your comment. Alexander Vandenberg, your comment on energy supply. Would you like to come in? And I hope we can hear you. Alexander? I don't hear anything. Still doesn't. I see on the host control panel that you are unmuted. Can you speak? I'm afraid I don't hear you. You're on Firefox. Okay, it's also a nice browser. I'm using at home, but we are not allowed to make any publicity for browsers. But it's a good browser. I'm sorry that we can't do it more more interactive acoustically. Alexander, so you were asking, or you were making the comment, it would be good to highlight with respect to the expected impact on energy supply, the need to increase global competitiveness of Europe in renewables, similar to the transport impact. Yeah, you are putting also the finger on the important nexus between climate goals and also economic goals. And indeed, and this has been often stressed, that whereas we are pursuing the overall ambition to reach climate neutrality, and we are able to cut emissions at the same time, with these endeavors, we are also able to have a positive impact on the growth agenda. And we have many figures for this. Of course, what you are raising, that's something we can fully subscribe. The question is, to which level of granularity are we putting it in the expected impacts? You are referring to also to the transport sector. So obviously we have to be relatively short and precise in the impacts definition, and we had to shorten some of the sentences. But you're fully right with what you are here mentioning, and we take also good note of this.
Can you hear me?
Now, yes. Who is it?
This is Alan Zarli.
Ah, great. Okay.
Great. Yeah.
You're
so,
the first.
and I'm on.
Please come in.
So just for information, maybe for the others, or for tomorrow as well. Can you hear me still? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm indeed on Safari, and what has to be done is that you have to click on so as you unmute your microphone, but then you have also to always allow bigmarker.com in the microphone which appears, in the line of your URL, on top of Safari. Do you still hear me?
Yes, we hear you well.
Okay, so that's just, well, so I've been trying to solve this problem. So this is the way this can be done. So you have to always allow bigmarker.com. I'm not sure about what is bigmarker. I can imagine that probably this is related to the web conference software that you are currently using for these research and innovation days. And to always allow bigmarker.com in the URL at level of the URL on top of your full screen. You have to be in full screen on top of your full screen, and then of course to mute on or mute off the micro, which is a green or red icon on top, but on the right side. So maybe it will be helpful for other people, or tomorrow for other workshop and conferences. I don't know.
Okay, thanks a lot for your technological assistance. That's
okay. This has nothing to do with the expected impact of Cluster 5. I do apologize for that. But there was already some answer to my question, which I can let's say half agree upon.
Yeah.
I do believe that what is a little bit difficult, just a very an overall comment, it's sometimes a little bit difficult to, that there should be really some differentiation between, I do believe, the innovative solutions, which some of them can be cross-cutting, of course, just batteries. Batteries are cross-cutting solutions. PVs are kind of cross-cutting solution as well, because when you can consider PVs integrated in the buildings, but you can, of course, consider PVs, just independently. Then, of course, well, there should be also consideration for the structures for the various elements of the cities, the buildings, the infrastructures, the public spaces, the infrastructure, of course, for mobility. And according to me, of course, the citizen aspect is to be considered in the overall target, which are cities and communities, probably. But just as some kind of comments that may allow us maybe to find our way a little bit easier, I would say, in those various impacts of Cluster 5. But I agree that this is not easy, by the way, to deal with. There are always different facets. You can see those things.
Many thanks, and I'm glad to hear a real voice. And thank you also for your
from the French Riviera, by the way.
Okay. I hope you have good weather there.
No, not today, but that's good. I'm listening to the Research and Innovation Days. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks a lot for your comment. We are supposed to have the last sunny day for the next period, so I can tell you we have a blue sky here, still in Brussels. Colleagues in the meantime have been busily replying also to your comments. Thomas rightly also pointed out to the competitiveness issue that the word competitive has been included in impact.
Just one final point, Bernd, if you allow me.
Yes, sure.
Just also for your information, what is sometimes maybe a bit puzzling is that there is a chat and there is the question and answers. And some people are on the chat and some other are on question and answers. I'm not sure this is clear to everyone.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So, as Thomas said before handing over to me, so we would like for the lively discussion and listening to your comments, we would please use only the chat bar. So indicating in the chat bar that you would, provided your browser allows, also to raise your voice and to speak. Whereas if you want to share your thoughts, you can do it through, of course, also the chat box. But we would also classify them in Q&A and vote. Colleagues are also looking at this, but indeed there are two different pillars. So we have to jump between a little bit chat and Q&A. On the citizens engagement, Thomas was also reconfirming that we are aiming to mainstream this topic. participants have raised an issue which is extremely important right now, and this is the issue of hydrogen. Stefan, maybe could I ask you if you're still connected with us, because I saw that you were also replying to this, and I know that Executive Vice President Timmermans is eagerly working. He came out before the summer break also with a strategy on hydrogen. To say a few words on this. Stefan, are you with us still? I don't. Stefan, I think you have unmuted, so you can speak if you hear me. Stefan Münch. Stefan might have left us.
His mic is not on.
If I can you hear me? This is Andrea Tilke. I asked before the floor, but it was not possible to get to the microphone. Can you hear me now?
Andrea, yeah, I'm glad to hear you again.
Can you hear me too?
No,
Yes,
I had to reload the Google Chrome on my Apple computer in order to be able to find the microphone. However, if I can, I return to my original question. Why the term cost efficiency is never used in the 6 expected impacts of cluster 5, which I think will be the key aspects for success.
Thank you very much. So the aspect of cost efficiency, which of course plays also under the aspect of competitiveness and just transition, an important role. Before you came in, I heard Stefan that you wanted to come in also on the issue of hydrogen. If you want, you can also give your comment and reply on the issue of cost efficiency. Stefan, I see you are reconnected. Would you like to come in?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, Stefan, we hear you very well.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, on the issue of hydrogen, yes, of course, this is one topic that is very important for us. You can see this on the fact that we do plan for a joint undertaking, which is an institutional partnership that focuses on hydrogen, but it is also linked to many other areas within Cluster 5. For example, when it comes to a long-range transport, we have a partnership on 2.0 on zero-emission vehicles. It is also closely linked to other partnerships like waterborne transport or on cleaner aviation. So this is a topic that actually, this is one of the reasons why it is in the cross-cutting destination, because it brings together the energy sector and the transport sector, and will be one of the enablers to decarbonize quite a few of different applications.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Stefan. Just going through through the chat bar, Christiana, you were wondering how Cluster 5 will relate to the missions, and in particular to the smart cities mention. And you make clear that you don't need to read out loud my question. Thank you for clarifying it. I was about to give it a try, but I will try it with someone else to hear another voice. Before I ask the other colleagues, you know, indeed that for the time being we are working on 5 missions, out of which 4 are Green Deal related, and for Cluster 5 in particular, the cities mission plays an important role. We are still in the middle of discussions on governance, on budget. So There are a number of open issues, how they will be embedded. If you look at cluster 6, we have the climate adaptation, the oceans, and the soils mission, where similar issues arise. We are currently discussing to which extent the individual clusters with their budget will contribute to financing the mission. So this is still not decided if there will be a horizontal taxation or not. You know that in the legal base, up to 10% is mentioned. We also, and this impacts, of course, also on our work. We don't have yet the final confirmation on the budgetary figures, which would enable us to spell out more in detail the work. The missions are very much also presented now during the RNI days, handover of the mission boards of their reports, where the work plans are being presented. So this is indeed something we need to keep in mind, whereas advancing with the work program. Just looking at the chat bar. Nicolas, you are asking on Euratom. To my knowledge, but maybe Thomas, Christiana can come in. We have a separate program on nuclear issues, so fusion and fission. So this is not addressed in cluster 5 in principle. But Thomas, would you like to come in to complement, or Christiana? Thomas?
Yes. I have to pay attention because sometimes the word nuclear energy or Euratom can trigger a lot of sensitivities for some people, and I don't want to step into any, in German you would say Fettnäpfchen. But I mean, in short, of the Horizon Europe framework program and the Euratom framework research and innovation program, they foresee possibilities to cooperate so that Euratom can use instruments provided by Horizon Europe, and that there are let's say some complementary activities. Also, Euratom is not only about the energy use of nuclear energy, it also concerns radiation protection and other aspects related to radioactivity. It's more than energy, in short. But as far as energy is concerned, Horizon Europe Cluster 5 will not fund any activities specifically aimed at nuclear energy. But I mean, the theoretic scenario of a topic dealing with energy system analysis, of real energy systems, so to say, would of course have to take into account the reality in Europe, which in many countries includes also a substantial share of nuclear energy. And of course, no real analysis or study would make sense if you just neglect for political reasons this reality. But of course, this is not research specifically on nuclear. Nuclear would be one element of the reality which has to be taken into the equation. That's my reply to this.
Thank you very much, Thomas, for this. I've been moving also to the Q&A. It's mostly that now I see similar issues which were raised under the chat bar. I see that colleagues are also trying to comment. Some of the questions go into the direction of issues which were raised, like from IDA, also impact on governance and policies and societal transition. So to stress that indeed we want not only to look and to tackle at technological solutions, but go behind. So we are working also on governance models. Social innovation also plays a role, but we see it as a mainstreaming, as a cross-cutting sector, and didn't want to single it out in one or the other impact. I will give, before I wrap up, I will make a last try. I see in the chat function a question from Jan Sin Quinn on. I'm not sure I pronounce it properly. I'm sorry if I didn't. On clean transportation. Would you like to come in and ask your question? If you have the right browser, Jan. Doesn't seem to be the case. You might be on fire.
You have to, Jan, you have to put on your microphone right on the right. He's on Chrome, so it's okay.
Jan, would you like to speak?
Jan, you have to put on the microphone. There is an icon on the right top. There, can you put it on? Yeah, now it's on. Okay.
Thank you. So I'm Jan from CEA in France.
Jan, please raise your voice.
Okay, I will raise my voice. And thank you firstly for the session. I just have one comment is when we are speaking of clean transportation, we see sometimes some projects embedding some other technologies than European ones. And I take as an example, but it can be applied to other things. When you want to make vehicle integrated photovoltaics, if you just put some Chinese panels, standard ones, onto a car, even if it's in a clever way, at the end you have a clean car with photovoltaics, but with panels that has been manufactured at the opposite part of the world and not by us also. So I would be pleased to see that calls encourage some European technologies to be embedded. It's only just a remark like that.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm glad that you could raise your voice. I see that Gail is raising also their hand. I'm afraid I'm told that we will be cut off at 1800 hours, so I need to come to the end. Gail, I'm sorry for this, as the organizers are quite strict, and there are some other events. I would like to come to the end of this co-design session. First of all, to thank for your active participation in writing. I'm sorry we couldn't hear more your voice, but in writing your voice was very well given. We have taken very good note. I think it was for us very good and very important to listen to you on the many comments you have raised, be it linked to cities. Transport was very often mentioned, including autonomous driving, the issue of innovative solutions, cost efficiency. Just transition was something which has been reflected in many of your comments, not to forget about the citizens' engagement, social innovation, governance. So these are all points we will take up. I wanted to say that we are organizing another session on Thursday from 9:30 to 10:30. It's exactly going to be the same format because the number of people is limited. So we wanted to give the opportunity for more people to participate. So I would not necessarily encourage you to come in again, since we will repeat this exercise to have as many listeners and participants as possible. I wanted to thank you, participants, in the first place for your interest, for having given us your comments. I wanted also to thank my colleagues and collaborators for having answered the function, Thorsten, Stefan, Christiana, also our administrators from VO. Thank you very much, and I'm sure we will stay one way or the other in contact, hopefully also more lively and physically once the virtual environment is over. We'll be eagerly working now on finalizing the work program, and hope to continue being actively engaged with you. Thanks a lot again. Have a nice evening, and see some of you or hear you in one of the sessions tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.